The C8 Corvette is arguably one of the best models of Chevrolet cars ever made, and it is so good that it has put Chevrolet in a category that has the likes of Ferrari, Porsche, Acura, and quite a number of other top car brands. With so much already known about this supercar, there are just some things that owners of the car aren't saying enough, and if you're curious to know, then you'll want to stay tuned for this, as we'll be uncovering the ugly truths about owning a C8 Corvette. A bit of a spoiler though, is that some of these things are quite important, and they might be huge when you're thinking about buying the car. If you're new to this channel, well, this is lavish luxury. And if you've not already taken the action, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and let's get you going with some of the best luxury and finance content you can think of. Now, let's head back to what we have for you today. Like it has already been established, the C8 Corvette is one of Chevrolet's best releases, and it performs insanely better for a decent price point as compared with some of the other luxurious options in the industry. While the model has seen several cars in its line, it is believed that the 2023 C8 Corvette Z06 will change the game even further for Chevrolet and put them ahead of even some brands that have quite stolen the headlines when it comes to mid-engine performance cars. But well, today, we're not at all going through any of the great benefits in store for when you get it, but rather we've got some things that are making rounds in the Corvette space that many owners have realized with the C8 Corvette. And even though these things don't take away any of the great features Chevrolet have added to their cars, it is just worth mentioning. And well, here we go. Number 1. It sucks your gas pretty fast. It becomes quite important to mention this, especially at this point when gas prices are on the rise, and even at the point of writing. Gas prices are going to be around $5 in many parts of the world, including the United States. While this cannot be good news for any car owner at all, it becomes more of a worry for owners of cars like the C8 Corvette. Now, don't get me wrong, whatever might be the issue with gas relating to the C8 Corvette is something that can also be found with most other performance cars, especially ones using the V8 engine. As great as the engine might be, it only sets you up to spend quite more than you'd expect for gas, with the C8 Corvette taking up to 20 miles per gallon. At the current rate, that might just be a lot of money to be spent on gas, especially if you're looking to take the car on road trips or highway driving. However, the plus side in this is that for other top brands like the Ferrari and Acura NSX, you'll be spending so much more. Number 2. The paint and trim won't last. Generally, it is believed that Chevrolet is really just offering you with a better performance car at a low price than you get with most other options. And as a result, things like the paint and trim don't really last long. This is particularly something that has been seen in several older models, and even though Chevrolet might have a better plan for something like that in the Z06, many users might not like this detail. Well, the truth is, unless you're going to use the car pretty carefully in the best way possible, the car is bound to get scratches, peels, and discolorations before you know it. While this might pose a problem, you can simply solve it by repainting or repairing the parts of the car which you want at any time, though this would generally come at another cost than most people would like. Number 3. They've got expensive tires. This is pretty much a thing with supercars, but with the C8 Corvette, it is actually a bit surprising, judging by the fact that the C8 Corvette comes at a low price point. What's even worse is that when you get tires, there's a huge possibility that the ones you get are not as good as you'd expect them to be, and as a result, they don't last long enough. Well, unless you've got some additional chunk of cash that you can throw into the purchase. Generally, the cost of a tire for the C8 Corvette is known to be around $2,000, though the price can go a lot higher if you're looking to get one that can withstand certain conditions, like when there's snow. And that will cost you again another $1,500 extra, taking the purchase price for the tires to around $3,500. The tires of the C8 Corvette are high because of its unique size as well as its performance shape, which covers the impressive width that it has. Like it or not, you're going to have to prepare your mind for this should you want the car. Number 4. The interior plastics are cheap. You're saying wow, right? Well, this is one of the popular things that has been circulating the Corvette space, and even some people believe that General Motors are doing a bad job when it comes to making quality interiors. While they might look really appealing to the eye and represent something that you'd see on a list of other top cars, they don't exactly represent that when you look closer. The plastics are known to be very prone to cracks even with moderate use, and when you're careful. Even the paint has been known to wear off, and many new owners of the car also complained about hearing shifting plastic pieces when they move something in the car. And well, all of this points to how bad the plastics in the car might actually be. Perhaps it's because of the price point, or maybe Chevrolet doesn't put so much consideration into the kinds of plastics they use, and that might be a really bad thing. Number 5. It might feel loose to drive after a few years. If a look at most of Chevrolet's cars in the past can teach us anything or point us in a direction, then this is it. The C8 Corvette might still feel new at this point for many owners, but in the past, Chevrolet cars have been known to feel loose to drive after like 5 years of use. When you buy a new Chevrolet, you're definitely going to get a top car that feels so sharp to drive. However, many owners have complained that the cars have been known to develop certain issues that make you worry about what you might be getting into buying these cars. Loose steering, tires, powertrain, and a couple of other parts are known to be quite familiar with the cars after a 5-year duration. Though the good thing here is that use of the car might come into play with these complaints, and if you're using yours as carefully as you can, then you might just be using the car right, and these things won't happen. But if the car is all you've got and you use it for nearly everything you want to do, then you might surely experience these. Number 6. It's a cheap car. Call it whatever you want, or give it whatever name you feel it deserves, but the truth is, the C8 Corvette is a cheap car. In recent times, many car enthusiasts have even called it a budget Ferrari or Lamborghini. And while that might not entirely paint the picture, the C8 Corvette is nothing like cars from these brands. And best case is that it can manage to get into a competition with them, but it's not better. In terms of everything, including price, the C8 Corvette feels cheap. And at a starting price of around $60,000, you won't be able to get any other top car in the same category. And that's because they are usually expensive, even if you're looking at old model Ferraris or Lambos. The good thing, though, is that for what it boasts of, you'd hardly find a car that beats it. And with the C8 Z06 on its way, Chevrolet might be able to balance the playing field to an extent against these other top brands. Generally, the king of truths is, if you can afford a Lambo or Ferrari, you wouldn't consider the Corvette unless you're a fan of Chevrolet or you're already used to their cars. While all these points are eye-openers and the truths you probably didn't want to hear about the C8 Corvette, they are things that you should put in your mind if the car is one that you'll be looking at. As you can see, most of the issues have solutions, and usually it all boils down to how careful you are, and maybe if you're not a careful driver or you're getting it for track purposes, then you might want to sit this one out. However, you should also remember that the C8 Corvette models are generally some of the best in the industry, and the price is enough to get you hooked. Would you still be considering the C8 Corvette? Do you have really high expectations for the C8 Z06? Do you also own a Corvette and been using it for a while? Kindly respond and share your experiences in the comments section. And don't forget to like the video, and also subscribe to the channel, as well as turn on the notification bell button. See you in the next video.